Welcome to another episode of Mental Health Mondays. It is the week of January 30th, 2023. And today I'm not going to be talking to myself because my good friend Zach Mazzochetti is here to discuss life and all the things in between with me. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Of course. I really appreciate you coming.
Yeah, of course. I love talking with you.
I feel bad because every time we do anything, you come my way and you have a fucking trek.
Yeah, I would love for you guys to come out here, but obviously
I know.
the studio, just like,
True.
even if content, I feel like LA just seems more appealing.
I guess, yeah. What is living where you, so where is it, Huntington?
Huntington, yeah. It's like 40, I don't know, maybe an hour, just say an hour with traffic.
Yeah, of course. When you drive in here, do you notice like how different it is? Like,
yeah, like just the surroundings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it as dirty there as it is here?
See, like, it's not as, like, when I came today, right? I was like looking and it seems pretty like cleaned up in a way.
Right.
Not as dirty, but just like the infrastructure is so different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like so tight. Like Orange County has a lot more space.
Feels a little suburban.
Yeah.
Kind of, but like beachy.
Coming from Webster or whatever, you
Yeah.
know, that seems way more Orange County than like here. It just seems like downtown Rochester.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If we're gonna like just try to put it comparison.
Yeah, you and I would actually both understand. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's like where this specific neighborhood isn't that bad, but like the surrounding areas aren't great. Like,
and not even like that though, just like density of population.
Mm-hmm.
That,
all
I
on
like
top
my
of each other.
space.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm jealous. I do
know?
too. Eventually we'll get to a different place, but you have an interesting story, and as long as I've known you, like now it's a couple years, and we see each other not enough, but you're from the same area I'm from. I wonder, like, what was your childhood like? Like, did you have a good childhood? Did you enjoy childhood?
No, yeah, I would definitely say it was good.
Yeah.
But I'm originally from Henrietta.
Okay.
So I lived with my grandparents from like kindergarten to high school, basically, like freshman year.
Okay.
Because like my mom like was an alcoholic.
Okay.
Something.
Same.
Yeah. But she
Nice.
also was like a drug addict a little bit during that time.
Same.
And like my grandmother didn't really like my dad at that time because like, he loved her, I guess, and like he would protect her while she's doing these crazy things, out in the streets or whatever.
Right.
And like wouldn't facilitate it in a way, but not say no.
Right.
You know?
I get you. That's actually.
And my grandma would say like, and see it as, helping in a way.
Right. Enabling.
Yeah, enabling.
I think that's actually, see, this is why this is cool, because I don't know if you knew my mom was an alcoholic too.
Yeah, I've watched every episode.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, it's funny you say that, because literally the thing that keeps me from feeling like a psycho when I'm talking to myself is like, I know at least Zach's listening.
Yeah,
So,
I'll be there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. Similar though, my parents were divorced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my parents never got married.
Okay, there you go. But like they were always had like a close relationship because of me.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, like my dad loved my mom eternally and gave her a trillion. And this is not to talk shit on my mom. She's my best friend. She's the best person that I know. But same situation where it wasn't enabling, but like, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, like if you're gonna get drugs on the street, I'm gonna get it for you, so I don't like have to deal with the stress of knowing that you're gonna, be out there and maybe not come home for 2 days.
Right.
I don't know where you are. That type of mindset, which is still flawed.
Right.
And he still has that love for her. It's just, it gets under my skin sometimes.
Right.
But,
Almost too much, you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you're not together. He has a whole wife now.
Right,
Right.
Right.
What are you doing? And she's in Florida now, so it's different. It's just different, but. Yeah. I lived with my grandparents because like they just thought it was better for me during all that time.
And then you eventually moved in with your dad?
Yeah, so like I went to Catholic school throughout that whole time, which was like whole thing too, because Catholic school was crazy. I went to I'm like second grade. I'm like doing multiple bus exchanges at MZC just to get to my Catholic school because like it's not like a normal, like they don't have a bus schedule, just boom, boom, there you go. And yeah, and then I got older and I started like, because my parents were around when I was there. My mom would, because she had a very guilty conscience with just the whole situation, and she still does today. So she would definitely be around during the day.
Mm-hmm.
At night, that's when that was her time to go, out or whatever.
Right.
So, and my dad, I would see him like on the weekends. That was like when I saw him. And I feel like my dad was the only one that was really honest to me. So when I started growing up, I just started seeing the real picture.
Right.
The onion started unraveling.
Right.
I saw all the layers to the situation. It's not so simple.
Yeah.
Everything has nuances. So you grow up and you start noticing the nuances of life. And he was the only one that was honest throughout the whole situation. So I, tend to lean more towards him when I was growing up and who I would go to and trust on situations.
Right.
And then eventually, I decided he told me they were going to be done. Like my mom and my dad were going to break up like officially.
Yeah.
Like this was like probably happened before with fights and
right.
But this was the one. This was the one.
Yeah.
And I feel like he was gonna get his old place. He was kind of doing better, and like for him financially too, to get like a idea of him, he had like I have 2 sisters with another mom though.
Okay.
So we're half sisters, and they were married before and then got divorced. But ever since then, like child support really has been like piling up, I guess, for him. So he's really can't like make money in his name. So he's always been kind of down. But his father, my grandpa, had like electrical company. He's been really building it up to where it is now, which is really good. Like
right.
Without like all the financial hits he's had to have just because of like the everything and my sisters and whatever. But so he's gonna say like, I have my own place and you have an opportunity if you want to, you can live with me.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I feel like I want to, but I was so scared, dude. Like I couldn't even tell my grandma.
And that's why you were scared? Not
like I was just scared to change and like
that's
disappointment and judgment. And like that's a theme with me. Like I hate judgment. Like I really do. I don't know. I would love you to like, I feel like get to know or something or situation before you have any type of judgment.
Right.
Especially on me. And maybe it's like insecurity too.
So when you say you hate judgment, do you mean it more of you hate when you feel judged, or just in general you hate when people make judgments on
anyone,
things?
Yeah. Like, and I find I may judge situations obviously too, but like you got to also be acknowledged of the other situation that could be possible. Just the unknowns.
Dude, the more you speak, the more similar we are. It's insane. It's insane. Because the upbringing thing's mildly similar, obviously differences and everything, but the way you described your dad and like the financial aspect of things and the whole like being with your that was the exact circumstance for me. And so it's just, and then also noticing as you get older the nuance of things and like, I don't hate anyone involved, but I understand that there's flaws all around. Like there's blame to go to everyone.
Yeah, I've never was like a sad kid though too. Like talking about like, I don't know, positive, being just happy person. Like I never remember me being sad about situations. I just like was just like, I don't know, like okay, I'm gonna go in my room and play some video games.
Yeah.
And like that happened, I guess. Like because like throughout my whole life, everyone thought I needed to go like therapy or something because they thought I was so like suppressing so much stuff. And I've always just I was like I just felt like I always understood them and I knew that happened.
Right.
And then it's just like okay, and you kind of you move forward in a way.
You're fortunate that was almost came naturally to you for that to be your mindset, because if you put someone else with a different natural wiring of their brain in that exact situation, it could go a completely other way.
It's about, like everyone asks me like, how do you do it? Like obviously there's years of training, my mind to think a certain way, which we could kind of talk to eventually. But at the beginning, before any of that, like I don't ever remember being like a sad or overlooking into things and finding like why is this happening to me, or like making it. I don't want to say, depending on the situation, bigger than it is, but like
most adults struggle with that.
Yeah, I know. And like I feel like I knew I was also a very loner kid, and I feel like I felt safe alone. So like maybe shit happened to me and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna we'll be over here and I'll be good.
Right.
So like,
as long as I'm
because I had like not a lot of confidence. I'm almost 400 pounds at like 13 years old,
right?
And going to Catholic school and whatever.
So let's get into that a little bit. So how did you get to that point, do you think? Do you think that all the things that you described that are confusing and challenging for a kid to go through, do you think that is how it manifested itself? Like you said, like you had a pretty okay way of dealing with that kind of stuff. Like you never really seemed to be like depressed or sad as one may be in that situation, but did it manifest in gaining weight when you were young?
Yeah, like I said, I felt comfort in being alone. I felt comfort in a lot of different ways, and food was definitely one of them.
Okay.
And obviously living with your grandparents, like they just want to
nonstop
give you some food.
Yeah. What nationality are you?
I'm Italian and Polish, but like
I'm Polish.
Yeah, my mom, the grandmother that I was living with was the Polish one.
Oh, okay.
So like,
did you grow up eating Polish food?
Yeah, like
pierogies, dude. I was a pierogi when I was little, dude.
And then I'll go on the weekends get some spaghetti on my Sunday.
Oh my god!
With my dad.
An absolute like if this was like Pong, like the old video game Pong, you're the ball just going back and forth between ravioli and pierogi.
Yeah. So dude, I don't even know where I was going with that. What was I talking about?
So growing up, that finding solace in being alone.
Oh yeah, with food. Yeah, and live with your grandparents, and like I just didn't, you're a kid. I had no idea it was really happening until it happened. Until you are that.
It's like almost like your consciousness has been asleep until all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, this is me.
Yeah, now I'm 13 and like I am like 370 pounds, and it's just like I didn't know this was happening. Right. So
did you care? Did you, at that point when you realized like, oh wow, I'm a big dude?
Yeah.
Did it immediately hit you? Like, did you ever feel depressed about that? Because you are a very positive person.
Like
but
I knew it was different for sure.
Yeah.
Like obviously, but again, my introverted, I'm gonna kind of just do my own thing, my whole life type of vibe. I felt like it didn't matter when I'm, maybe like 20% of my time out there, but then 80, I'm in my room. I'm like
right.
Totally just doing what I'm comfortable with. I deal with it. You make those justifications to make this state better than it is, and you don't want to like realize it. But
right.
I didn't, you make your excuses. Like, yeah, it's okay. Like, I don't know. Like, I can run.
Right.
You just make excuses, and I still do it today.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like, the whole story with the weight loss, we can just get into it right now because there's a whole arc to with current life. But so I was almost 400 pounds going into high school, like when we were in the same area.
Yeah.
Because I went to, it was in Henrietta, and then I moved in with my dad, and that's when I started going to Schrader. I'm a big kid.
Yeah.
6'3", like 400 pounds.
Dude,
almost.
when you came out of your car, I always forget how tall you are.
So everyone says just play some football, and I played baseball as a kid just because my grandparents really stressed like you got to get out there and you got to do summer camps. They knew I was I'm not really talking to people, so like they pushed that, which I hated. But so I was doing shit. It was just my eating was crazy.
Yeah.
But come high school, everyone said you should play football, bro. You're just huge, so play football. And I was like, all right, sure, I'll do it. And that's where like really started losing weight. To be honest, they just taught me how to work out and not eat.
Right.
But that's get on that. It taught me how to work out and just be a little bit on top of your fitness and whatever. But every off season, bro, like I would gain all the way back.
Yeah.
Because they're not teaching you eating habits and like structure and like the addiction I have currently to food. Like I'm always gonna have that connection with food because
dude,
I was raised like that.
You had pasta nights before every game.
It was ingrained from the beginning. So me and Damon, my boy Damon, shout out Damon.
Yeah.
We're just always gonna consciously need to think about food, just because of how early it was pressed into us. Like just. Not eating everything off your plate and everything like that. Like you can't waste it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like just and proportion sizes and we're just gonna constantly need to think about it. But every off season I would gain all the way back, and then it would it did that cycle till about junior year.
Okay.
And that's when I decided I was like, screw this, because I saw the effect of the loss of weight. You see what you look like, and it was like you like it.
Yeah,
you like it a little bit more. Obviously, you see, which is kind of like fucked up, but you see the effect people also give you. Like it changes how people like what just how they treat you and how how people interact with you. It changes, and you notice that. But so I just kind of decided I'm gonna actually give this my all. And so that's when it really started for me, about junior year. And around, I was probably like 280 at that time. So I went from like 360 to like 280 or
Damn,
370.
how long did it take for that?
So like that,
That's a
it took
huge change.
like from freshman year to junior year.
Okay.
And then like I did wrestling junior year too. So I did, because Damon was doing wrestling.
Yeah.
I couldn't even wrestle a match because I was too heavy.
Yep.
Because like the weight class is like 285. So I was doing that at like 313. And I was just doing it for the workout. I was
Right.
like, I'm just going to do this. My friend's here. I'm really like trying to just lose weight.
Yeah.
And I still, during that time, was not learning eating habits though. Because I was just working out like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I'm doing football, wrestling. I just had I was starting to get a girlfriend, like my first girlfriend at that time. And she was a little bit bigger, but she wanted to start losing weight because I was losing weight, you know?
Right.
And I tend to like rub off on people, like,
Yeah.
like just how the way I am. And I just tend to rub off on people like
Yeah.
that, I guess. So I was working out with her after like football practice. I was just working out insane. I just couldn't eat enough to even not lose weight.
Right.
So I was still not learning the eating habits, but I was losing weight. That's, you know, and then come after high school, I kind of finished at, I think like maybe 260. Maybe like that was like 100-pound graduated. I lost 120 pounds. And I was really coming into like a stride of like, I have this on pack. Like I know how to do this, but still wrong. Again,
Right.
I'm just relying on working the fuck out every fucking moment I have, you know?
Right.
And then I got a job right out of high school at Wegmans.
Okay.
Doing Helping Hands. Perfect thing for my lifestyle. Because you're telling me I'm going to push cars for 8 hours and get paid for it?
Right.
Like, that's perfect for what I want to do. I want to lose mad weight. And, like, that's all I know how to do is work out for it.
Yeah.
And that's what also just kept the train moving. And then comes like 160 pounds later, 170 pounds later. I'm like, the lowest I got to was like 205.
Okay.
And that was like super, because I'm taller too, though.
Yeah,
like
that I have not been below 205 in 15 years.
You know, and I got obsessed with it because like coming from a nobody, in my opinion, and then this is the identity everyone knows you by. You know, you get obsessed with it, and that's all you're thinking about.
Do you think it was a healthy obsession? Like, because that's all, it's a positive thing.
You know, like I lost mad weight, and like, to an extent, you have to say that's healthy. That's healthy for sure. But like, in my opinion, because now I gained like 60 pounds of that back since like COVID, like the past like 3-4 years. I would say it wasn't healthy because I didn't learn a healthy like way to do it, like a healthy diet and all that stuff.
To sustain that.
Yeah, right, exactly. And just learn better eating habits and like proportion and just all those stupid things that were ingrained in me like super on.
Yeah. Dude, I still to this day like we'll make like healthy food, like ground turkey and brown rice and vegetables and stuff. And then I make the first, it's supposed to be, you know, we'll eat this for dinner tonight and then we're going to put some meals aside for the rest of the week, you know, so we don't have to cook every night. And like I won't even realize until halfway through. I'm like, this is way too much. And it's okay. It's healthy, whatever. I am working out. It's okay.
Yeah.
But it's like, still to this day, I don't fucking understand portions
and it's just,
and stuff.
You got to constantly think about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, the burden I'm going to have to just deal with.
Yeah.
But it's a cool burden to have. Like, I don't know if I could have anything else. Like, this is fine. You know, not to be ungrateful.
It certainly made you who you are in,
like,
in
that's
a lot of
with
ways.
me, though. It's kind of okay because I'm a very meticulous person. Like, I like knowing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It helps me know that I'm doing it because I can know. Like if it was kind of like a blind eye, like there was like the invention of calories didn't exist or something.
Right.
You just kind of had to do it by eye, like lose weight and everything. That'd be way more stressful to me than knowing exactly what I'm eating, how much I need to work out to do this very healthy, and like, you know, all your macro. Because I'm a control freak in that way type too, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like that makes me way more calm than not knowing. Like, I'm just kind of doing it by eye and everything.
Yeah.
Because then it could really slip away. Especially with me and, like, Damon, we were talking about that, too. Like, if we didn't pay attention to it, we could easily gain, like, probably, like, 60 pounds in 3 months. Like, so quickly.
Yeah.
Because, like, of our eating habits. Like, it's so crazy. It's so bad.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so. Can you do me a favor and hit that light switch? I forgot I never even turned that on. I don't think it'll make a difference, but even to like not to like steal valor or anything. Like I never got to maybe like a size that big, but I always, as a kid, same thing, struggle with my weight and like I guess more so was so self-conscious about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel you because to this day I go through, I know we talked about this before, where it's like phases of eating really good, working out consistently, and then it's so easy to fall right back into old habits because it's easier. Like it's easier to
And
eat
like,
whatever the fuck you want and not move.
I always say, like, I wish food just didn't taste good. That would
Yeah.
be half the battle.
Yeah.
Dude. Like, it just tastes good, and you need it. It's not like, you know, you might be addicted to something else, and you could really just, I don't need that.
Right. Literally, there's
like,
no
I don't, but food,
utility to
you
it.
need it.
Yeah.
Like, there's like, tell like an alcoholic, it's like you have to drink, you know, at least a half a cup of alcohol a day. You
Right.
just,
But
don't
only
do a
that.
lot. Just have a cup.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way that's in that, you know, the fucking program.
Yeah.
Like, that's not gonna happen. So like, that's why it's super tricky, and you have to just be on it for the rest of, or at least my life. Not, you know, people are blessed with not needing to worry about food. Their metabolism wasn't fucked when they were a kid, you know, and it's just like they can live life not thinking about it.
Yeah, and it's the same thing like you just said to compare it to alcohol. My mom's alcoholic. I've had some of my siblings have struggled with it too, and I don't really drink as much anymore, not by choice, just I haven't been drinking a lot, but I don't have that problem. Like, I like to get fucked up sometimes, but I never turned into like, and tomorrow and the next day, and I'm hiding things with this, and it really is every brain is different. We all have issues, but they manifest themselves in very different ways.
Because, like, you know, looking at my mom and shit, like, I have it probably in me, addictive personality or whatever. But again, it just manifests with this one thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, I indulge in whatever, but I feel like none of it has a grip on my life like food does.
Yeah.
You know, like, I've proved myself time over time. Like, I control these other things I may do. But food, it's still a constant battle to prove to myself that I have control of that thing.
Do you think, is that part of the joy that you get out of it, is that constant battle with yourself, that it's you versus you, and
that's the battle when I mess up, because it's only me versus me.
Right.
The credibility, I'm happy, bro. I'm a positive guy. I can make an excuse to make me feel better, and I have an abundance mindset on time. I'm very good at convincing myself it's okay. If you don't quit, you have another try always. If you don't quit, you never fail. And that abundant mindset is a burden sometimes, because like you get okay with those messes up too much, because you're just like, okay, if I just try again, it'll be okay this time.
Right.
And you're okay with the messing up because you know you're gonna try again, and you get okay, like you get too like comfortable in that cycle. And I'm on a very consistent thing now for sure, and it's been nice, because I was telling my girl that it's like, it's not, you're not 5 days in and you're just like, oh, okay, it's whatever. Like, I did good. I can have a donut.
Right.
Like, you're like 20 days in, and it's like you have a lot more to lose. Now it's like a habit, and I love habits because it makes discipline way easier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't need to think about it, because it's like I'm just naturally doing it now.
Right.
Like, I work out every day, and you know, now it's just a habit, to be honest. Like, I don't really think about it.
Right.
And it's just the eating. That's the thing I constantly need to think about now.
The eating.
But Damon, he just started a meal prepping business.
Really?
So I was his first client. I was like,
amazing.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah.
Like, it's expensive eating healthy. It's like, it's not easy making a life choice that's gonna be better for you.
No.
It's just like impossible sometimes for people.
Not too long ago, we got McDonald's. Actually, this was last year. I can say that now because I've been really good for like a month, and it was like $18, and we got, you know what I mean, like a disgusting amount of food. And then we'll try to get like Sweet Greens, which is like a salad place. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's $24 for one salad.
Dude, and it's so frustrating, because then like, even now, like, I know I'm still not getting a grip on food, because I still have like the idea of when I feel justified enough to have a pig out day, like when I've lost enough, I know exactly what I'm getting, and like that mindset is like, it still has a hold on me, and like obviously the money, but like it is frustrating sometimes, and this is where I get my mom. This is where me and my mom can really bond, because I know her addiction's on substance and mine's on food, but I can really get on her mindset about it and understand. That's why I have no grudge against my mom. It's like, and she just feels a lot of guilt, but I tell her all the time, like, I love you. That's okay. Like, I have no like, because I can relate to it. I totally understand it. It can make you think crazy, outrageous, not logical stuff, and make it, you know, any type of reason okay. So that's why, like, me and my mom, you know, don't have any bad blood.
Right. What But again, when you say stuff like that, it's like that is to me the optimal way of looking at things in general. Like it is what it
I don't
is.
like
Everyone
hate.
has reasons, but how do you think it's? And I don't know. I don't know how to explain this, so it might take a second. Like I feel like I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything, but at the same time, there are ways to me and my own rationale that seem like this is the better way to go about things. You will be a happier, more fulfilled person, and you'll have more to offer to the world. And you, again, going back to your childhood and now, and obviously it's been a process and things go up and down and everyone has hard times and stuff, but this kind of came naturally to you, this mindset that you have. But how do you convince someone else that does not have that mindset? And I don't know if you have the answer, but I struggle with that
No,
because
100%.
I tend to look at things similarly to you. I'm constantly playing devil's advocate, and that's annoying as a motherfucker to other people. It's like,
Yeah, Damon gets on me
yeah,
about
it's
it
like,
all the
dude,
time.
no, you know, from someone else's perspective, it's like, no, that person's wrong and I'm right. And I'm like, I do agree with you, but I have it in me where like I have to at least show you where I think the other person was coming from. Do you struggle with? You just said yes. Like, do you struggle with maybe? And it's not that they're wrong, but do you struggle with other people not seeing things the way you do in your relationships in your life?
Yeah, like 100%.
Yeah.
100%. But with the people I really care about, like it's coming from such a heart where like they just kind of understand. Like I'm just can't. Like, if I didn't care about you, I wouldn't be really bringing this up. I feel
Yeah.
because over the years I've just like understand that you really can't help everyone, and like you could show them some good advice, but people find a need good advice. You shouldn't need a good reason to take good advice,
Right.
and that people it's hard for them to put their ego aside to just say okay. But then that's where my like introverted ways kind of come out maybe, and just be like okay, like
Yeah.
I have such a mindset of my life. I'm sorry you can't better yours, and I really think you deserve it.
Yeah.
But like I
That's
still have tomorrow to look forward to and need to take care of. You
Yeah.
know, so I think that's where like maybe a selfishness comes in, where it's like, I'm sorry.
yeah.
You know,
There's
but
only so much you can do.
I'm gonna move on.
Yeah. I feel like I struggle with. I feel like for me, when someone's close to me, same type of thing. They know that it's coming from the right place. I love you. I care about you. So I'm only giving my opinion because I think it could help. But it's very difficult for me to accept. Because I get it. I was going to say for me to understand, but I do understand. It's very difficult for me to accept that we just don't all look at things the same. Like
That's the funny thing about perspective.
yeah, like I think I'm an empathetic person,
Yeah.
but then I'll try to deliver a message to someone and it comes across as like completely unempathetic, especially in my relationship and other relationships. It's like, I'm not telling you this because I think or I know I'm right, but I like it blows my mind sometimes how people view things the way they do. And it's like, I have trouble giving up control, but only because I want what's best for them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But sometimes it does come down to like emotional intelligence and communication style. You may have the right perspective, but how do you deliver that to the person that needs it? And
don't say that too loud. My girlfriend's gonna hear that.
Because like my girlfriend's the reason why like I have really changed, because like I feel sometimes my opinion's way better. You know, and I want to tell her that. But how do I do that to make sure she has the sentiment that I need to pass that message along? And that's on me. You know what I'm saying? Mike Stud, my favorite artist, he's a quote in one of his songs, like, the vision is mine. Like, how could you see? Like, it's my job to show you. You know what I'm saying? And how do I do that? There's many tools in the toolbox. Like, I can't just focus on the way that maybe resonates with me.
Yeah.
If I care about this person, I'm going to change my delivery to make sure it hits, because I care. Like, I need you to know.
Yeah.
I need you to know. So I'm going to do anything to make sure it's in the right way that's palatable for you to digest and not feel offended or whatever about it or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's my outlook too, but I do struggle with it. Or like
because of your passion. Though.
Yeah, and it's like I genuinely feel that I am a patient person. But then when the patience starts to really wane, I don't know what the fuck I get so mad about? It's not that big of a deal. Like it's not always that big.
I get mad about the sauce and the garbage.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Do you yell? Do you ever raise your voice?
Yeah, I would say like my voice resonates for sure. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
you do have
consider
a booming voice,
you know,
but like
I wouldn't consider it yelling.
Yeah.
Right? My girl would say like maybe it's yelling.
yeah, stop yelling at me. You're like, I'm talking. Yeah,
because I get passionate and I care. I care about stupid things though sometimes because I'm a serious person.
Yeah.
You know, and that's always something. Just a balance of what matters and what really doesn't. What's helping you, which wouldn't affect you at all. You know, what's just that navigation also of like a control freak mindset or whatever. Constantly want to optimize life and. Because, again, it's probably because of the weight loss. I was constantly like, I need to know the numbers. What am I at? Where am I at? You know?
Right.
And that's how I gauge progression.
Yeah.
It needs to be quantified.
How do you think... But even with that, like you said, like calories are measurable. How many you eat, how many you burn. And pounds are measurable when you get on the scale. But those things take time to really see the difference. And, like, what kept you going in those times where, like... Obviously, from day to day, you might not see a physical change. You might not necessarily feel a physical change, but from month to month and year to year, you do. What kept it in you to be like, I still got to keep at this?
It's just this is where like manifestation comes in and like understanding like the sense of delayed satisfaction. Like you know something, you will have it. Like it's just not here now. And, I'm willing to wait for the things that I want. Like, because I do think of myself as a kind of a patient person. Like what I said about like having an abundance mindset with time. Like I feel like there's always enough time for me to get what I want.
Right.
And yeah, I just feel like I have a really good knack at just seeing something I want, knowing I don't have it, but like not thinking it's impossible.
Right.
Because I know it's real, and I just don't think I'm different enough by anyone else that may have it, or, and I think of it that way. I think it's a belief in something that you don't have now.
Yeah.
But it is real enough to make you, change what you're doing now as if you have it.
Right.
And kind of like, the old thing, walk the walk type.
Right. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have, 100%. All those types of things.
And I feel like I've just done that my whole life. Like I started football, never played football. Before my life was like, all right, I'm a football player. So like this is me. So
right,
get used to it. With photography, just picked up a camera. I was like, all right, I'm a photographer now. So get used to it.
Yeah.
I just kind of, I can do it. The belief of me, I don't really have a lot of that doubt that comes in, and I don't know, I can convince myself I have something, I guess, before I have it, or I'm full-heartedly this thing.
Right.
That
makes sense. I like it. You're very smart, very wise dude. You really are. I always enjoy spending time with you. That sounded like I was like, all right, well, and thanks for that. No, but just genuinely though, I just wanted to say that. You said something I listened to the podcast you did with your girlfriend, and you said, I really liked how you framed, like, you are a very optimistic, positive person, but it's your words, but like you explained that doesn't mean that you don't see the negative side of things. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. And that mindset's definitely come from just like trying to push positivity on people though.
Right.
Because it comes off in a way where it's like there's only good. What?
Yeah.
There's bad?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it comes,
naive almost.
Yeah, 100%. It comes off in a way totally naive. And over the years, like I've really, learned that positivity is not just realizing it's only good, right? It's recognizing that there is bad. And there will be bad things that will happen.
Yeah.
Like no one's has a life without something. That's just it's just life. Life's unfair.
Yeah.
The first time you realize that's when it becomes a little bit more fair.
Right.
Wow.
Wow. I like that.
So it's not about ignoring the bad. It's being able to realize and accept it, and make sure that in the catalyst of that moment, it stops right there, because you're in control of that. Like,
right.
What you take from it, that's what the act of being positive is. How you look at an event and what you take from it. That's what being positive. Is it going to be something negative, or is it going to be something positive? The event will happen no matter what. I'm not talking about positive events, negative events.
Right.
Being positive is how you look at life and what you take out of it.
So it's a choice.
It's a choice. I tell my cousin that all the time.
Yeah.
Everyone deserves to be happy, but not everyone chooses to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is a choice, because like that's, you know, if you're religious, free will, like whatever, you know, everything is a choice.
I try my absolute best to take that with me every day of my life. Is that in any, I think I said it on another episode, but like if someone were to just come up to you and hold their hands out and be like, in this hand is sorrow and unhappiness and depression, and this one is happiness, 1,000% of people would choose that hand that had happiness 100%. In it. And really 99% of our, you could say 100%, but just being a realist, like most of our interactions that we have with the outside world, where we can't control anything else that's going on, the only thing we can control is our action and our reaction to things. Yep. There is the choice of happiness. You can choose it. It's not, I'm not to say it's easy. And again, I tell myself that every day, and I still don't live by it perfectly. Yeah.
It takes work. Like anything though, anything worth having is hard. You know, like it's the matter of how the world works. And again, like it's unfair. And I feel like that people, you know, kind of have a hard time accepting that, because it's easy to like put things on external forces. But I look at everything in my life as I somehow caused this. I don't tend to look at external forces for explanations.
Right.
Because like, I don't know, I just put a lot of weight, way more on me than external things and anything like that. And I feel, you know, other people may have the opposite. It's easier to blame something else.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a difficult balance for me too, because I go back and forth between like being kind of mystical in my head, and like I do feel there's something that's not tangible and visible that's like going on that you could feel at times, but to not let that, like you kind of made a joke about it on the other podcast. I was like, or actually I think your girlfriend said it, that like there's people that charge their crystals and all that thing, and it's not to say like don't do that or that's not real. Who's to say? I don't fucking know. But like, to put too much power on stuff like that is to take the power and control that you have and eliminate it, and that's not healthy.
Right. There's a balance, you know.
That's what it is.
I'm not saying anything about crystals, right? Like, who, you know,
right.
I definitely believe in spiritual energy and like, you know, the universe, and if I believe in that, anything's really possible. So like, I have no judgment towards that, but it's how much weight do you put on? Like, are you just sitting around looking at these crystals and then like expecting the things physically around you to change?
Right.
That's like, it's how you approach those, you know, like, because what you probably heard in the podcast, spiritual magic or sympathetic magic. Term sympathetic magic. That's what crystals are. They're a representation of something to be and what's going to be looked forward to. And if that's used in a positive way, absolutely.
Right.
But if you're just looking at them, not really practicing them in an outward way.
Yeah,
what their essence of the crystal is.
That's what gets me too, and I try to separate it as best as I can in my head, but it's like some of the most toxic people I know are into those kinds of things. And it's like, that's because they're looking at it at its face value, like you said, or of like this one side of it, and completely ignoring the side that's more important, that's them and the internal work, and like really like taking an inventory of everything going on in their head and in their life. And that could be a cool, useful tool.
Could be a catalyst of something, but you have to play along as well.
Yeah, and again, I don't think that, like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if I came up with something or if I heard it somewhere, but something that's in my head always is like, the universe speaks, but do you listen? Like,
100%.
Like there's stuff going on around you that something, we're kind of moving through this cosmic spaceship that we're all on, and like every once in a while we'll bump into something that it's like, this is a message from something or someone or somewhere, but you're ignoring a lot of it.
Right.
But also differentiating between, no, you literally just accidentally bumped into that tree, you know what I'm saying? Or like, oh, that you hit your I don't know, and like that made you think of something and that sparked an idea. It's hard to separate those two things for me, because I'm constantly in my head, devil's advocate, being like, no, you're like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you talking about? And then the other half being like, no, but this is real, you know? So it's balanced. It is balanced.
It is balanced, but I feel like I would rather have the vision of both sides than only one, though.
Yeah,
you know?
100,000%.
Because, like, obviously you may be overthinking or whatever, but, like, at least you know. At least you could realize, and you could at least enjoy or see, whatever the other perspective it is.
Right. That's what gets, not that I definitely don't want to talk about politics at all, because I don't know enough to talk about it even. But the amount I do know and understand of the world and things going on, that's what gets me. Is it's like, how can you possibly, we're divided into two halves, how can you possibly agree with 100% of everything on this side and 0% of everything? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't work in my head.
Nah. And it drives division.
Yes.
So
yeah.
100%. And, like, politics, like, people don't do things out of love, though. There's so many malicious intent with everything, money, whatever, power.
Yeah.
Because, like, I love to love. My girl points. So, like, if people did move in a sense of love, though, that would fix a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because, people are deserving and they're humans, you know? But, like, if they decide, this is where decisions come in, too.
Yeah.
Because I have a weird bit. Because I feel like everyone deserves happiness and everything like that, too. But you can't take advantage. Like, this is where, you can't be ungrateful for the situation you has. Because I understand, like, there will be people that just will not be okay. And that's just the 80-20 rule of evolution and, survival of the fittest.
What's the 80-20 rule?
Where I just feel like, in life, obviously we just said, like, life's unfair.
Right.
So, like, if you're working towards 80% of, like, if you like politics, right? If they fixed 80% of the world with whatever they wanted to do, I'd be like, that's 100% of success.
Right.
Because there's gonna be 20% that did not want to get the help or whatever. Like, they made the decision to not make this program work. Where 80% decided this is cool.
Right.
It's just a natural number. I feel it's just, if you're hitting 80% with, like, people, society, that's cool. That's like 100% of success.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that could be applied to almost everything.
Because, like, look in LA, man. Like, some of those people are down bad.
Yeah.
Other people have decided definitely to stay.
1,000%. 1,000%. Have you ever watched the Soft White Underbelly?
Yeah, dude. When you mentioned him, I was like, no way, you watch it, dude.
Yeah. I can't act like I always known, like, pretty recent, but, like, did a pretty deep dive, and that's another thing where it's like, it's all about, I don't know, it's difficult for me to decide how I feel about that situation. And what it is that it's a little of everything.
Yeah, it's the nuance, because you hear the backstories and it's like, you didn't deserve any of that.
Yeah.
It's definitely contributing.
Yes.
It's definitely contributing.
Yeah. But also then there's the other side of people who had a possible way out of that, what everyone would view as a terrible circumstance, and they chose to go deeper into it. But then I don't know how much of it is true. Like, is it your design? Are you just, was it written for you that this was the path you were going to take? Right. How much free will is involved? It's tough to say, but no matter what, it's sad.
It is sad, because, again, you don't deserve it. You deserve like water, like you deserve natural stuff.
Right.
But yeah, what is your choices versus, like, circumstance? Like, those questions, I don't know. This is where, like, once you realize life's unfair, it becomes a little bit more fair. Like,
right.
Because some things are, like, but what are you going to do about it, and how do you move, I guess, is the real question.
Right.
If we're talking about, like, future and not just,
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's a burden, though. I'm too much in the future sometimes.
In your head?
Yeah, and I sometimes am not as present as I should be.
Dude, me too.
I
feel bad because, like, especially because it's the person I spend the most time around. If I'm in the studio making something, my head is spinning, dude. It's, like, not just on the song, but on, like, what it could become, and, like, it's quieting this other voice of me judging myself, and, like, you're not good enough, none of this will ever matter, and, like, all this different shit going on in my head. And then I go out to, I'm done for the night, whatever, she's in bed, I lay in bed, and then now this is time for us to talk or whatever. And it's not that I don't want to pay attention to her. It's not that I don't care about what she's saying, but my head is still.
You're processing everything.
I don't know how to shut it off sometimes because I'm trying my best to stay in the moment and enjoy making music for the sake or the simple fact that I love making music. But it's so difficult for me not to think of 35,000 steps ahead.
100%.
Dude, I think about interviews I'll have about a song that's not even, it's 4 tracks on a thing. Like,
right. I think about conversations I might have.
That's
dude,
what I'm
like
saying.
What I would say. Like, who knows if I'm ever going to have that conversation.
And, like, a little bit of that is good, but because it's like you're always prepared. Like, you know what I mean? And for what? I don't know.
This is the control freak making you feel comforted. Like, you know.
Maybe that's what it is.
For me, it for sure is.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself a control freak?
Yeah, like, I definitely feel like I'm a control freak, but because I find comfort in control, because I feel like
control.
like I feel like I can change my life in whatever direction I want to take it. Right.
Yeah.
I just gotta make the steps, and I know I could do that because I proved myself. Like losing weight was a big, proof that Zach, if you put some time to do it, you could probably do some shit. So like. Yeah, I am very intentional. Maybe control freak's a little negative a word, but I'm very intentional. Every decision I make is very, like, I used to think of it as like I have a filter in my head, but recently I've been coming to think I just talk to myself as if, like, I have a real good connection with my inner consciousness. And I can be able to process things, not by just, like, thinking only my perspective, but bouncing it off myself in a way. And, like, really be able to process it and think about it and talk to myself and see how many different angles and, like, just process it in a way. I used to think it's like a filter, but I think it's way better of a statement. Like, you're just talking with each other, yourself.
Yeah.
Do
you ever feel crazy?
Because but I just don't care. Like, I feel like I found something that I love that works for me. I find joy in the simplest things. I'm a very happy person. So, like, do I think it'll be it for everyone? No, but, like, I find comfort in the control because, I don't know. I don't like leaving things up to chance.
Yeah.
But
do you struggle with the stuff you can't control?
This is the caveat with me, though, because the things I can control, I don't even care about. Because why would I put focus on things I can't control when I'm too worried about the things I can?
Yeah.
If I can't control it, okay, it's gonna happen. I can process it super quick.
Right.
Let it happen. Just let me know. I really want it to happen so I can get it over with.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, it's like that's the nuance to that. Because like I don't care about the unknowns or the things I can't control. Because the things I can, they deserve my attention, not that stuff.
Right.
Do
you think? See, I feel the same way, but again. I guess what interests me is like that is for me, like, because we're similar, that is the optimal way of going about life, but that's not everyone's way.
Yeah.
And that has definitely been a struggle in my relationship where it's like I either care a lot or I literally don't care at all because it either one does not matter, does not affect me or us or my life or the breath in my lungs or my plans, or two, I have zero control over it, so why would I give a fuck? But it's not like, again, it's balance because it's like you can't not care at all.
Yeah.
Like there are some things like
with control free, like you're gonna have to anticipate it in some way to prepare for your next controllable actions. Like this is where we're talking about like not ignoring the negative.
Right.
We're including that in the equation, but
right.
We're just fitting it in a pocket that like we just know we can't control, so we're waiting for the outcome and then know our possible moves. Hence, thinking about conversations I'm never gonna have possibly.
Right. Dude, I've gone through a specific, but like a certain hypothetical conversation over and over again in my head for the last year of my life, like every day. Like I can't, and it's like because if this conversation ever were to happen, like. I've looked at it from every fucking angle.
Dude.
There's, you know what I mean?
And like, how like rich people nowadays are so into like biohack, or like they're hacking their body with like stem cell. They're doing everything they can.
Yeah.
To optimize their life. I really am. I would say I'm kind of obsessed and optimize like my mental. To be honest.
Same.
And like I've worked like which you probably heard in like the podcast with my girlfriend. Like I've really put time in being alone and being up here, and I'm doing mental reps about things.
Yeah.
And I think that ultimately shaped how I can do this really easily and optimize and think on an optimized way, or like best for me way, best for whatever I want to take out of life way.
Yeah.
You know, but it takes time. Like it doesn't, I'm not just saying that this is how I am and you should do it too. And like, you know,
right.
whatever. But, you know,
but it works for you.
It works for me. 'Cause like, again, I find peace in knowing that like I have the control.
Right.
You know, I'm not worrying about other things to determine my fate or my future or anything like that as much as possible, with the balance and planning for the uncontrollables in a way, like you know, planning.
Right. Just being mentally planned,
but
mentally
like,
prepared.
In the podcast too, just being open too.
Yeah.
Like being flexible and open, not so rigid with your plan and like you know like. But that's where trust and belief of something you don't have comes in.
Yeah.
Because like shit might happen, but you're gonna have to know that like it's okay because the outcome's still the same. You just didn't know this was gonna happen, and like,
right.
And don't get too caught up and like the journey. I guess is let it ride, but know the end goal is the same.
But yeah, you said something that was, what did you say, dude? You were like, don't get too. Like almost sometimes we get too honed in on the thing we're chasing. What was the wording?
I think of doctors basically, like because like there's one way to be a doctor,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So like for doctors, it's probably like, all right, I just stick to this, and don't do anything. But throughout that whole time, they may get like an investor to come in to do a whole private practice or something that's just not on that path, right? And people get so tunnel vision on the path that they think will get them to where they want to go, right? And they don't allow like an opportunity to come into themselves that they didn't know they may enjoy or get more fulfillment out than the thing that they're actually chasing for currently on their current path. So like they're kind of have that tunnel vision to something that they think they want now, but not having an open mindedness of that path, having an evolution as you evolve and change during that. And they're just like, this is it, and this is how I get there, and they don't have the recognition that another step could take you on another path to bliss and happiness,
right?
And you don't even know it.
Like, don't block a blessing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like I said, a door is open is a door that's open.
Yeah.
You know? So like,
might as well peek
might as just go, you know, see what's up. You can always say no.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
But now you know.
I think for me, or just when I think about that, I think the difficulty in that is like time, is the fear of time, and knowing that it's not forever, and knowing that it shouldn't dissuade you from failing, but every time you fail, that time, obviously you learn lessons and things like that, but like that time was used and you'll never get it back, and now you have to like pick up the pieces. And it's like, of course we're always trying to optimize like our mental, our physical, but also optimize like the way in which we're moving forward towards what we think we want. And that's something I struggle with, is like time is just like I literally feel like I feel the clock ticking, and it makes me constantly stressed out of like, I got to get this done because like I'll never get this day back, I'll never get this hour back.
Dude, like I texted you before, like how I go in that cycle with like, I'll have like a solid week and then I'll have a payout day and ruin the whole week, and constantly feel like I wasted time. Yeah. You know, but with that, I've been really loving this statement. I've been really telling like people that come to me for advice, you have to give yourself grace. Like, there's no everything. We see things in a shades of gray, and that's the best answer I can give you, is a shade of gray. It's like you got to give yourself grace and allow yourself to be imperfect, to pick yourself up and try it again. Like, yes, you may die tomorrow. You know, and that's where positivity, the perspectives you take out of life, come into play. Because you could be disciplined and withhold and not fulfill, you know, all types of, you know, desires. But you could still be happy as hell in that moment, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's where the perspectives you take on life come in while you're being disciplined. Because like, I don't know, I struggle with it too. Like, I could die tomorrow, but like, I couldn't live 60 years. Like, what? do I want to take that chance, just not worry about like my decisions because of the chance of both? It's like what Schrodinger's formula, like both are pre-existing, are the same, like they're both correct. Like you know what I'm talking about? The Schrodinger. It's like it was a psychologist or something back in the day. He put a cat in the box, in a box, and there was like poison that could have been released or couldn't, and he basically like proved that, or not proved, like had a theory that like both states, dead or alive, is that they're both true in this instance because we haven't known the answer yet. So we could die or we could live. Both are true. We just don't know yet. So you have to wait for time to find out.
Right.
And that's where like a balance of your perspectives on what you take out of life, but make sure like the things you do align with your values. And if health is a value of yours, is eating a cheeseburger align with your values?
Right.
It may be really good, but what's more fulfilling? Instantaneous sugar rush or something? Or knowing that you live life by your values and you've saw joy throughout all moments, and you have been an upstanding person to your wholeheartedness. You know, and like that's where you got to really find yourself. Like I was thinking about this on the way here. Emotions are like the compass in like Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, it really like directs you to what you want, but like it might not what you think you want. Right. And like I feel like people just really don't understand what they want out of life, and that's where all this anxiety and like all this other stuff comes into play with mental health. They just really don't. They're chasing what they think they want, and like I feel that's where like an emotional intelligence comes in, and what you're really looking for.
I think that's well said. And just looking at it from my perspective, it's like sometimes it's hard to trust yourself. Sometimes it's hard to trust that you know what's best for you. And like you only learn that by failing and making mistakes and stuff, but like sometimes it's hard to trust like I am doing what's right by me, like what I think I want most, what I think I need. But how do you learn to trust yourself?
Again, like losing weight like definitely helps with that at an early age.
Because you prove that you can do this thing.
100%. And like people do come to me for advice, and I want that to be credible. So I do have some type of accountability to myself. I feel like I want to live by these words that I tell people to also live. Right. So that I guess helps. But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a mix of understanding that your life is short, but you should get the most out of it. Yeah. Like and choose to be happy. Yeah. Throughout the whole time, which will be challenging. I'm making it seem like it's just like a light switch. It's
but
like,
you
choose happiness, turn on.
Right. I wish it was, but like it's just looking at it from like the most optimal way of going about things. Obviously, if you have the ability to choose happiness, that would be optimal.
But it's a practice. Yes, it's gonna take time.
Practice is the best word for it.
It's practice. Yeah, it's like any type of thing you do in life needs practice, and that's why people get discouraged because they forget. Like you're not gonna be good at first. Yeah, with anything.
I learned that more getting older. I don't know, or like because I have like a set amount of things right now that like if I sometimes all right, this is a bit of a tangent, but like sometimes I think about like stupid shit. Like there is a number of times that like I've taken a shit or like inhaled. Oh, yeah, like there is an actual number somewhere in the universe. Hopefully someone has a list of it or something. But like fuck, where was I? What were we just talking about?
You were basically saying like you were wondering how much time will be used like with like taking a shit, or how much time used.
Right before that, what were we saying?
Optimize life and like being happy. Fuck. Like you got to choose to.
Okay. So like it's like there's now there's a certain amount of things that like I'm good at in my like, and I don't often get the opportunity to do a lot of things that I'm bad at because like I've centered my life around things that I'm good, like music and like whatever. That's pretty much it. But like different aspects of music, and it's like now as an older person, now that I'm an adult and I have a fucking brain that works. Every time I do something that I'm bad at, it's immediately fucking humbling. I'm like, oh shit, like because I don't know, I'm humble as a motherfucker, but like. I also have confidence in myself 100%. In certain things. Mm-hmm. So there are moments where like something really small and trivial where it's like I view myself highly at the end of the day. I think I'm pretty intelligent. I think like we're talking about, like I know me. I feel like I know myself so well. But then I'll do something that like someone else is better at, that we have an even playing field. You know what I mean? Like, and I just always think like I'll be good at that. I'll be better than someone else.
You understand it takes time.
Yeah, but like then I'll do it and I'll fuck it up, and I'm like, damn, dude, like I can't believe I suck at it. Or like bowling is a perfect example.
Okay.
I enjoy bowling once every fucking year, once every 2 years. It's fun, and then you get like you'll bowl a strike, and you're like, okay, yeah, and then 8 frames in a row, you fucking stink, and it's like, it's just such a humbling thing, because going back to I guess this is where I was going with this. It's like that. It's all a practice. Is that you're gonna fuck up. You're going to make mistakes over and over and over again. But it's about like somehow optimizing your mistakes, like and like what you get out of them. Learning.
I'm a what's the expression? Like a lifelong learner. That's what I could have said. Like I love learning. And
yeah.
I that's what helps optimize it. You have to like, I guess like, you could think of it as a way of those experiences are data points. Like learn from them. You know what I'm saying? What happened last time when you went through this?
Yeah.
Well, did you do this? How can you maybe change this time? Or, I don't know. Optimization for sure comes with my like career though too. I feel like it's such a robotic way to think about life. But like, because I want to make a point that with this whole thing of optimization, right? That doesn't mean you can't sit around and watch some TV.
Yeah.
Chill out. I take so much time, like not so I make that, but I take like an hour a night for me, because I know no matter what I do in this hour, it's probably not going to get me closer to anything I do. You know, I could probably work out. I just worked out though, but you know, there's things that you could probably do, but you have you have to allow yourself to give grace and like understand that there's sometimes you need to like do things that are just for you, and not because you're getting better at anything. And not think it's ruining you, because like even if you did something bad, it's probably not gonna. It's gonna be marginal.
Yeah.
Versus the amount of joy you'll get. You know what I'm saying? You can get marginal progression maybe in this hour or two of like watching TV, going on a hike, or whatever. It's just like for you out of pure enjoyment. So like my cousin Jake, he has a hard time with that. He doesn't know how to chill.
Yeah.
Because he constantly is like, I'm not where I want to be.
That's exactly how I'm really struggling with that currently.
100%. And he's the same way. And it's like, I understand you think like you need to be doing something constantly, because I'm the same way. Everything I do is very intentional. But you have to come to peace with, there's moments where it just won't affect your progression or anything like that. And it may help you get there because you can recharge your mind, your focus, like you maybe have a connection during that relaxation where you have full release, because you're probably strung up a little bit, you're probably all wired up, and your mind and your body hasn't had a full release, and be able to like process or draw to conclusions or some type of incubation that could happen with thought that may help you actually progress. Yeah. You know, so like I think allowing that is also important with this sense of optimization mindset, right? Or like getting your life where you want to be and making the steps. That needs to be a part of it.
That's something that's been difficult for me. I feel like the reason why it's hard for me is because, again, I feel the clock ticking, and we all do, but specifically from my perspective, like of pursuing what I'm pursuing, it does seem like there is an amount of time, and I don't have this, it's like I don't think in my head like, well, at this age, that's it, I tried and it didn't work. I don't think that, because I really believe that I'm going to get to where I want to go in life. But with that said, I know that there are certain like barometers of like, you got to, something's got to happen. So the reason why I feel like I struggle with giving myself time to just fucking chill is because I look back on maybe the past few years, and I think I did that too much. Like there were days or weeks where I didn't really do anything towards what I'm doing. And now it's like, again, New Year's resolutions are whack, but like not really. And since like January 1st, coming home from the holidays, it's been every day working out in the morning, going to work, getting home, taking like 20 minutes maybe to like say hi to my girlfriend, literally, and then immediately in the studio until the time in which it's time to go to bed because I have to get up again at 6 o'clock. And it's like never in there. Maybe on a Sunday I'll watch a little football, but like it's been very difficult for me to just like have grace with myself and accept like, dude, sometimes you need to just like do something dumb and like you said, something that's not necessarily pushing you forward. But and that's hard for me.
And like it's also a nod to value work, you know, because you obviously probably value your relationship.
Yeah.
And if you ask yourself, did I do something that will like show like, you know, feed that value, you know, that like should be part of your progression. Working towards your values is progressing on a daily basis. Those are small wins, you know? So, like, it's not just career where you want to go.
Yeah.
Those are and most of my goals are not even, like, physical. My goals are emotional states. My goals are freedom, like longevity, security. It's not a house. And my goals are strictly emotional states, you know?
Like meaning like happiness, content.
The sense of freedom is what I'm chasing. The sense of security is what I'm chasing.
I feel like I am too, but I don't know if I've just convinced myself of this or if it is true, but I feel like I'll never get to that place mentally of like feeling happy and content and free. And what was the other word you used?
Free. Secure.
Yeah, secure. Unless I got fucking hair in my mouth. Unless I do it in this vein, you know what I mean? Like I'll never. Yes, and I feel like nothing else that I could ever do with my life in a career sense will ever give me that feeling. And so like this is it. And then I don't regret putting all my eggs in this basket, but like all my eggs are in this basket. Right. And it's like that's when the feeling of like, oh, I'm not doing enough. And then this would be a good question or something. What? That was supposed to be in my head. Like, oh, ask this. That's a good thought. Pin that. I know you said too that you take in a lot of content, like purposefully though, not just bullshit scrolling through TikTok, like things that you think will add to your like expand your mind, all that kind of stuff. Lately, I almost feel like I've been taking in too much. Not like because of the time investment, but like now I almost feel like I've been second guessing myself because I'm like, I admire this person and I really like the way they go about things, but then also this person and this person and this person, and then trying to apply it to my own like creative process or just my own life. And then I'm like constantly judging myself and trying to tinker until it's like more like what I'm seeing, because I'm like convincing myself that's the only way that I'll get there is if I do it like that person did it. Do you ever like feel that? You know what I mean? Like
this is where, you know, first off, comparison is the thief of joy.
Correct.
Just have to say that. Right?
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm a cliche dude.
No,
you know, I live by cliches.
Nah, dude, that's fact.
So like we really shouldn't be comparing because we all have our own books and like they're all different pages, all different amount of chapters. You know what I'm saying? Like can't compare. But this is where it's the point of being open-mindedness. I'm not saying what you want isn't right, but being open-minded to just how you get there and maybe the path you take. I feel like that's really the point of like you're so caught up in what you think is the right way.
Yeah.
You know? And it might be. I'm not saying right, no, yes, up, down. It's just being okay with thinking that what you believe in is working.
Yeah.
Even if nothing around you is showing it.
Yeah.
It comes down to trusting yourself and trusting what you're doing and the belief you have in your actions and what you're putting out into the world.
That's the tough thing.
You know?
And again,
no one's going to give you satisfaction on the level that you really will need.
No, 0%. Perfect example of that is like, with the exception of like maybe some friends that I have who make music and are artists or musicians, like sharing a song with someone, it's like torture because when I share with them, like they know how to listen, you know what I mean? Like they know like full attention. And then there's times where I'll play a song for someone, they want to hear it. They say like, oh yeah, I want to hear your new stuff, whatever. And then I put it on, and 8 seconds in, they start talking to me about something, and I'm like, dude, no. Like, 100%. But to your point, I need to accept. We all need to accept that we'll never get externally. We'll never get the pleasure that we get internally from like little things like that.
100%. And back to just the overarching theme, positivity. The other side of that is really getting good at accepting, like acceptance.
Yeah.
Because that's when you could finally decide what you're gonna do next.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't accept, any decision that comes next will be like tainted in a way. I don't have a better word for that.
Yeah.
It's gonna have a chip on its shoulder, or something that will not have a full, like, genuinely, decided upon decision or action or whatever.
I think it took me a while to, or like, it just you don't know, like, it just sometimes I feel like I have never been conscious until right now. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
Like, because then it's like, oh my God, I'm looking at all of this stuff through the veil of like, I'm so much smarter now than I was 10 seconds ago,
Yeah.
And I look back at like the last few years and it's like, oh my God, how did I not notice that I was not, like, specifically what you're saying about like not closing those doors on the way to what you think, like, dude, I'm not getting anywhere.
Right.
Like, and yet I was still closing doors on my way down the hall. Like, no, well, I don't want to go, but I don't want to do, like, well, I should have fucking tried. And you know what I mean? And that's a long time, dude. I'm talking 5 to 10 years of thinking about it in one way before I realized, oh yeah, I'm literally running in place. Because I'm closing these doors and stuff.
And like, again, you're chasing a want that you want at a moment in time, and time is forever gonna be like on, like, moving, right?
Yeah.
So like, you have to know that too about yourself. If time never stops, you won't stop either. The amount of change and everything like that. So I feel like you have to be conscious with that, with your goals too, and just have like a mental check. And like, not saying like music, like that's a fucking thing I feel like you should do, because you're super fucking talented.
Well, thank you.
But just in the idea of what you're gonna be doing in music, let that be open to be shown to you.
Yeah.
You don't need to decide it. Let it be shown to you. Just know you have this love for music. And like, discover what that element you're gonna play a part of that is. You don't need to be worried about it, because again, that's where the trust in you. You'll find it. Because you have a genuine want, genuine love that affects all your decisions, all your movements in this world, and how you navigate. And if you live by that type of like logic, you're gonna be exactly where you want to be. You just might have a different, element to play a part. Not the exact one you had envisioned or whatever, but both are still, in our hypothetical, bring the same amount of joy and fulfillment, because they're exactly in the element of your passion and what you love out of this world.
It will bring the same amount of joy and fulfillment if you accept it, and that's like when I
have an ego.
That's and that's when like
That's why positivity is not just one fucking thing.
That's
the theme of this episode. It's multiple nuances. You have to constantly have a balance of each other and check up on, of acceptance, perspectives, and everything like that. Is our, a cultivation of being positive.
Because like I look at artists that I admire, or people I admire, and like I wouldn't say like my what's that my idols, not necessarily like I want to be them, but like people that I aspire to be at somewhere where around around their space of where they exist in this culture, in the world. And like damn near every one of them has been like, I thought once I got to here, all my problems would disappear. And like that's something I'm trying my best to accept on my way to whatever that might be at the end of the tunnel. That like if I'm not enjoying it now, I'm not gonna enjoy it then. And like it's hard, because when you have that end goal in mind and you're working towards something, it's hard to remember that it's like a continuous upwards, like you're still climbing. Once you get there, like there's still gonna be a rock to get over. And until you like take a second and look and realize you're on a beautiful mountain, like none of it's gonna matter.
I was talking with Damon about the same thing. Remember what we were saying? Like, you could die tomorrow. Right? But you could have like 30 years till you reach your goal. That's also a possibility. Are you okay with not being happy throughout that time until you reach that goal? Like,
but see, that's a fucking perfect way of putting it. But it's like, I want to say yes, because I want that thing so bad. But at the same time, what is it worth if I was never happy to begin with?
This is where value work comes into play. What really brings you fulfillment out of this world?
Yeah.
Yes, money, success. That's like, you know, something we just have to acknowledge.
Yeah.
It's part of society and will bring freedom and a lot of things that will
that's
make
what
it easier.
Is too. It's the freedom. I know that's how you feel. To me, that's purely what it is. 100%. I don't give a fuck about having stuff. It's just being
money
able to like.
Money doesn't bring you happiness.
Yeah.
It provides you opportunity to do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. You know, but like, also being with my girlfriend makes me happy. And what capacity? Does it need to be in a 50,000 square foot house? No. Like I could get so much fulfillment, like, you know, just from that, and that has no price or like a step up path, because I can do that right now.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where value work really comes in, to being able to know that you want to be happy in the future by doing these things and setting yourself up right. But how do I kind of coincide with my values to make sure I'm fulfilled on a daily basis? Because I can walk around knowing, like, I love my girlfriend and she knows that. I treat people with respect and people respect me, and like these untangible things,
right?
You know,
yeah.
And the value work comes into play on a daily basis on long-term goals like career and like, you know, that's more of a long-term goal. But daily happiness comes from value work and being able to look yourself in the eye and, you know, in a mirror and be happy with who you are.
Yeah.
And the values you live by and you stand by and you go outside and live through. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, in that way, it's like that is clearly the more important aspect to, like, being a happy, fulfilled person. And, like, I forgot that this whole thing is about mental health, too. It's like that is the key to, like, alleviating anxiety. Like, 99% of anxiety comes from, like,
what you don't have.
Right. And like I was going to say comes from outside. It all comes from within you, but like all of these external things that again you have zero control over. And then even if it's not like when you're having an anxiety or a panic attack, it's not always about like, oh my God, I have so much going on right now, I'm so stressed. It's just your body is like, all of this shit that you're worried about, now I can't handle it either. And so it's like, it really is all about finding like an inner peace with your circumstance now, and knowing that, yeah, you have things you want to work towards, but like like you're always going to be there. Right. You know what I mean? Like
you're the common denominator.
Exactly. From now into the future.
This whole thing. You're the common denominator.
So if that part of this whole machine is broken and then you keep going, it's still going to be broken. Like you have to be constantly working on yourself on the way. And it's not easy. Like we're talking about a million different things. Like, yes, also still get the work done and like fucking push
and, like,
yourself.
Be disciplined and challenge yourself. And be okay with not being good at things.
Right.
And, like, you know, like there's
but also care almost 0% because like that is the unlocking. That is to me like the key to unlocking like contentness. And like you said, the value work, like I definitely over the last couple of years have completely adjusted what I think and there's no finish line, but like the barometer of me, like where I want to get to in my career, because it used to be one thing and now it's literally just, I want to be in a position to where I know that music is what, like I was, you know, not to get too whimsical, like we were saying, it's like you do have control and then there's some other thing. I really believe that's what I was put here to do, but I don't need to be Drake. You know what I'm saying? I need to make enough money off of it to where that's all I'm doing, and I can like fulfill other responsibilities like paying bills and like providing for a family and things like that. But outside of that, if I can somehow do that, I don't need to be Drake. I don't need to be Eminem. Like that was always, especially as a rapper, like you think like I'm the best. Like I want to prove that I'm the best, and that's
you're
fine.
Trying to prove to yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. And like also now as an adult, it's like I just want to be happy, and I do think that there's a certain part of me that feels I won't ever be. I will never be happy if I don't achieve these things. But at the same time, I'll never know if I don't accept being happy now.
Yeah.
You know.
And like, you know, it is a balance of ego because like, you know, you do have, you know, a knack for this shit clearly with music, right? But then there is a whole societal justification, like how good are you, right?
Right,
And
right.
that's where it's a balance of ego and knowing yourself and being okay with however far, but and also like just being open minded, because
Yeah.
you may not be Drake, but how cool is it to be making music for Drake?
Right,
What if
right.
you never play a live show ever in your life, but you're making all the music for Drake?
Yeah.
Like I don't like that's where I don't know.
Just like being open to the other
like
things.
that
Yeah.
would be. Like, I'm speaking obviously for a goal that's not mine,
Yeah.
but and to me that seems like you have to be open for that equivalency, just because you just didn't know it at that time.
Right. No, I think you're right. I think it is. Again, I like to believe that I do a good job of keeping my ego in check, but I think for me it's like it is a little bit of an ego thing, because I feel like I have a story that's worth being told, and I can't tell it through someone else. Like just using that as an example, like being a producer strictly, or like being a songwriter. I'm open to do those things, but there's this other thing that to me it's like it has to come from me directly, because these are like having talks like this, and like again telling my story, which I think is at least slightly interesting and other people can identify with it, and like I can be what other artists were to me to someone else. But but that's also, it's like, who the fuck am I to think that? You know what I mean? It's all, but I was thinking about this earlier, because I do think sometimes, like, who the fuck am I to think that? Like, you're not that important in a positive way, like keep myself in check. But then it's like, who the fuck am I to ever open my mouth to ever say a word? Like, who am I to think that my little opinion matters? And it's like, well, it doesn't matter a little. It's a little bit of ego is like healthy.
100%.
You know what I mean?
It's the drive of like thinking you can do something that you haven't really proved to yourself yet. This is how you challenge yourself. Ego helps with that, because without ego you wouldn't take the first step in something you've never done before.
Right.
Because you have to convince yourself you can do this if you've never proved to yourself before, and that's where ego comes in.
Yeah.
Definitely a healthy check of ego needed.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's a partly ego, because you said like you would love to be a performer, or music songwriter, whatever, right? And like, what's stopping you? You're doing that right now.
I know.
It's what gives, like, what says you're good. You're waiting for that justification, or saying someone that you respect saying you're good, because the act of being that you can do without any attention or people noticing you.
I know.
You just want to be fulfilled without that like extra layer of knowing that people are taking on a scale.
I think that you just unlocked something in my head, and that's that. Again, it's all balance.
Yeah,
it's like
everything.
Because you're right. Like, if I never left this room and I never played the music for anybody, would it be fulfilling enough to me that, like, this is
right?
But that also doesn't make it wrong or a bad thing that I think it's meant for more. And like, it's like partly egotistical, partly like I think I have a greater purpose to this is worth something to someone else.
And it causes, the thing about music though, it causes joy.
Yeah. And I
like,
want to give that to someone,
exactly.
not just because, with that comes these other things. It's like, that to me is my best opportunity of giving that to other people at scale, And so, yeah, I love playing music in here, but like, it's not I don't feel, at least currently, and maybe I'll unlock something else that it will become enough, but like, it's not enough to me right now, and it's something I struggle with.
The fulfillment comes when you see the face of that person that resonates with your music or something, and you could see how it changes or evolves or affects them.
Yeah, and it just like you were saying, like you grew up as like this kind of like introverted person, like. I can be alone for a long, long time. I don't mind it. I actually enjoy it quite a bit. But like eventually I want to go talk to someone. And it's the same thing with music. It's like eventually this is meant to be shared with someone else. Like it's not just for me. So I think that's why I have this burning desire to like.
I don't think your problem is questioning your love or how you want to make music or do music. I think it's more about how you can sustain that living.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Because that's the only thing I care about, honestly.
Which makes you not question, but it makes you challenge the idea of all of this.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Simply because of money, and money sucks, but that's it's also the mindset you need on money. This is where, like, in the podcast, like law of attraction, whatever, like how you really put what energy you put towards things.
Yeah.
Like I'm not rich for sure, but I don't like stress about money though. Like, not like saying even if I was like broke right now,
Right.
you're not gonna think like, I don't know, I'm not,
Yeah.
because I always have that mindset of like, I don't know, it's gonna work out.
That's me too. Because it always has.
Yeah,
And
I
it
have
always,
no reason not to think so.
My mom is a very wise person because she's gone through so much and dealt with so much shit in her life. And that's something she always says to me, like, anytime we're venting to each other, is like, it's going to be okay because it has to be.
It always has been.
And it always has been. And, like, what okay is, there's varying degrees.
That's where, like, the perspectives you take, the acceptance of situation, of circumstance, like, again, those nuances of how you choose and what you get out of life.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's ultimately up to you.
I think so too, man. I think it is ultimately up to you. And it's just about unlocking that in yourself. Like, because it ebbs and flows. There are times where there are things that aren't up to you that get thrown at you that do fucking tear you down. And it's about, like you said, picking up the pieces and realizing, like, it's still my choice. It's still, like, I still have complete control over my circumstance.
And it's more about, like, the afterwards. Like, what are you going to do now? Like,
yeah.
This happened. And everyone knows it probably sucks, and we're not taking anything away.
Yeah.
Just we have to know that time keeps moving.
Yeah.
And you have to too, because life's unfair.
Yeah.
But, like, are you going to be happy? Are you going to be sad? Are you going to be miserable, bitter? Like, I was telling my cousin, regrets are for people that want to change the past. I'm too worried about changing the future. And, like, that type of mindset.
Yeah.
And it sounds, like, very harsh, because, like, obviously... But it's not. It's just you got to learn from them and change the future.
Yeah.
You can't. Time's forward.
Yeah.
You can't go back.
Yeah, like you said, it's not to say that bad things don't happen, or that the bad things that happen don't matter.
Yeah, and I want to acknowledge your feelings too. Like, I want to be like, I want to make sure that sucks. Because I used to have a bad time. Like making it seem like I'm not acknowledging your emotion. I'm so much like, oh, just get over it. Let's keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I want people to, like, I want you to acknowledge those feelings, because, again, that compass is gonna point you in the right direction. But you gotta understand those emotions.
Yeah.
And really digest them and understand how you're gonna react to them.
Yeah.
And everything like that.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing with that is, like, for certain people, it's like there are recurring things that affect you negatively over and over and over and over again in life. And they have a theme to them. And it's that it's coming from someone else. And that you can't control what someone else is doing or saying to you ever. Right. Okay, so now that you've learned you're not going to be able to ever control someone else, that means it has to go in. Like, you know what I mean? You have to look within yourself and be like, okay, well, then I'm going to choose to not let this affect. I'm going to choose happiness in these situations because I can't control that person, and I can only control, like, how I go about navigating that.
And another cliche, hate poisons the vessel that carries it. You know what I'm saying? And that,
woo! I like that.
And that's all. Like, you're gonna just feel like you're 30 pounds lighter if you live life with that type of perspective.
Yeah.
You're not constantly holding the burden of hate and just, like, bitterness about circumstances and what could have been, when you're not worrying about what is.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna be feel lighter, and, like, again, just have grace with life, and understand that shit's bad, but, like, I'm okay.
And also, like, holding on to things like that, hating someone, or just not even something like not forgiving someone. In a way, you feel like that's how you're controlling the situation, by, like, having this strong emotion on it, but really by hating, by lack of forgiveness, you're letting the thing control you.
Dude, Mike said, again, another quote by him. He says, "My hands are too full. I can't hold no grudge." Like, I got so much stuff.
Yeah.
I have so much stuff
that
I care about, and I want to make sure I align with my values.
Yeah.
I don't got time to hold that. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
It's gonna it's gonna trickle down and infect all the other dominoes that I've been setting up for my whole life to have, like, to set myself up in a certain light, you know?
Yeah.
And I just can't. It's too valuable to me to let it affect that, you know, and just poison that in a way.
Yeah, 1000%, dude. I like that a lot.
Damn, how long have we been going?
Enough for the lighting has changed now.
Shit.
An hour and 30 minutes, not bad.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about balance.
Yeah,
at the end of the
ultimately,
day.
if we're gonna take anything from this, there's so many nuances in life that you have to, you know, try to understand each one of them, and maybe not life, but more of yourself. You're gonna have so many emotions, but truly understand what's causing them. Why do you feel that way? And, like, is it more on how other people react or external, like, circumstances that are making these emotions, or is it something that you're doing inside yourself that are causing these emotions? And just being able to understand what perspectives you want to take, and how much, you know, your goals are set in, you know, comparison to others, or genuine passions or, like, feelings that you want to pursue
that are strictly for you.
Yeah, strictly for you. And it involves being a little bit selfish, but selfish in a way that doesn't affect others.
Yep.
You know, selfish where you could look yourself in the eye and still help people, but still make sure you are benefited, you know?
Right.
And just being able to choose happiness and acceptance of life in its way of imperfection, you know? That's the biggest themes.
Because it is imperfect and it is unfair, like you said.
100%.
I really like that. What you said, that the moment you realize life is unfair.
A little bit more fair.
That's a fact, man. Well, I feel like this is a good amount of time. No, again, something so that I should have just said something in my head, like, okay, now segue into. No, thank you again so much, dude. I always enjoy getting to. This is actually the longest I think we sat down and talked too.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
think
great.
Without, like, working or doing some type of creative venture.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I enjoy your perspective on everything, and I now, like, realizing your backstory a little. It's like it makes sense maybe why we have such a similar outlook
100%.
on things, but also you always challenge me a little, whether you try to or not, of, like, the way you think. I really appreciate your time and your perception of things, and I think that the world is a better place because you're in it.
Dude, thank you. And I love, like I said, bro, so I'm always going to probably be, you know, that supporter you have that you can count on.
I appreciate
for any venture you do.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. And thank you if you listened to this whole thing. You should have, because he just gave you the secret to everything. I got to remember I got this. You got to remember you got this. And if not, we got this. We got this together. Thank you, Zach.
100%.
Peace out.
Bye.